What's up, everybody? So I put out a survey thing on the community tab to see if you all wanted a tour of my shop, of my forging area and my grinding and my welding, to see how it is I have things set up, and to see the arsenal I'm working with as far as how the tooling goes, so that we can create, you know, the weapons that we make and the more traditional blacksmith stuff and the artsy blacksmith stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you around in a clockwise fashion around the entire shop and show you everything I have. So let's do it. Yeah. Okay, so the shop is in a attached garage that is 30 by 30, very oversized garage. I could fit 2 full-size trucks, 6-foot beds with winch bumpers and everything, with still room to walk around everywhere. So anyway, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go around from the left to the right, and I'm gonna show you everything I have and why it's where it is. Obviously, it's wintertime, so I have to have my snowblower and shovel and everything ready to go. But I have your Harbor Freight US General big double stack with the cabinet, and then the rolling cart, and then the other one all together, because you can't have enough storage room for tools. And in here I have like the big drawer has metal chunks, everything from spring steel from old seats and everything, to thin bar stock, to flat stock, to rebar, to everything, old tools, everything's in there. And then files, blacksmithing tools, pliers, everything. Your normal setup, however you have your stuff set up, is how you have your stuff set up. But this is where all like the hand tools for the most part are. I have my grinder, angle grinder stuff stacked up everywhere because I use the angle grinder all the time. First aid kit, yes, you got to have your first aid kit ready to go at all times, and that also includes the fire extinguisher. But you got to have it accessible where you can get to it easily and not have any issues. So that's that part right there. I have my vices. You can never have too many vices, right? It's not good to have vices in life, but it's to have vices in your shop, you can't have enough, right? There's a bunch of little ones. I have mechanics vices, 2 of them. I have the mounted vice that I can move around, and I use the C-clamps to make it easier to clamp onto things from time to time. Clamps and hammers, and these are like handled chisels. So I have punches, I have regular ball peen hammer, but this little one, all of this stuff has been annealed, so it's not hard and chippable. And then my hot cuts, it's just easier to have it handled, texturing, and all the different stuff. Tools everywhere. You got to have a Freddy Krueger claw here and there. A shout out to the past. Buffer, and with all the buffing stuff, with the compounds and the different wheels and everything. I also have some stuff in there, like in my calibrated drawer, right? This is everything that requires calibration, but I have more buffing stuff. And then I have a drill press. The big drill press, Porter cables. This big one here is super great to have. So you don't need a giant drill press. You can use a hand drill, but drill presses just really help out in getting straight, precise holes drilled. But you could also get, which I have, and it's coming in the mail, is a chuck for a lathe, and then there's like a lathe attachment. Really need that, and I'm super excited to get that. Anyway, fire extinguisher. I have a 30-pound. Your standard propane tank is 20-pound. This is a 30-pound tank, just because it lasts longer. And with a single burner forge, I've made all the weapons I've made and forged and stuff, right? Everything with all the different traditional stuff in there. I don't need a 3-burner forge or 2-burner forge. I don't need that stuff. So I use a single burner, and I've had that one probably for about 15 years now. But anyway, I have my swage block there on a little nice homemade swage block stand. I think that's a counterbalance weight from a elevator. It's just nice to have huge chunks of steel that you can make things and use for. But this is I believe it's a 1918 Fisher Norris. It's 140 pounds, and that was rescued from a farm in northern Connecticut. That thing is working. It's going. That's a 150 pound Swedish Paragon. I got that from a Anvil blacksmith tool collector flipper guy that was in New Hampshire, central New Hampshire. Because they're getting hard to find, right? Anvils, swage blocks, cone mandrels, right? That are getting super hard to find because people are collecting them. Because, why not? And then they hold on to them and charge crazy amounts for them. So they are getting difficult to find. Most of these are handmade. These are all like handmade. That one's handmade. That one's handmade. But then I have some nippers and other stuff that I didn't make. But that's where all my tongs are. The stand is just 2x6 crisscross, pop, 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 pop. And then I got my hammers there. Shims because the floor here it does some weird things. So I got shims everywhere. Just depending on where it's at. And I have this is from a old machining press thing that used to just stamp out giant pieces of sheet metal, but I got that. I rescued that and got really lucky doing that. This is a 100-pound cone mandrel. I got that from Vermont up at an antique mall. Super lucky find. This is where I do a lot of my, all pretty much of my grinding. Can you tell what I'm making next? I do my grinding and engraving and shaping with the Fortiflex, the Dremel. Really cool tool. It's got a foot pedal to it, a bucket of hammers. So you got your foot pedal, and that's how I operate that. Bob Ross approves. There's my list of stuff coming up with all the weapons. You can kind of see behind there is where all the weapons are stored. Pellets, because it's the pellet stove inside, because it's cold. There's my coal forge, which is buried under some stuff because I'm not using the coal forge at the moment. But when I do use that, it stays over here, and I just wheel it out the door. Eventually, I'll put a hood of some sort with ventilation that goes out, but that's where it kind of hangs out for right now. Bandsaw, the supporter band, DeWalt. I made the stand myself. Just welded it up together and bolted it to the table. The thing works great. It's just, I'm sure you've seen them if you're like into the craft. You've seen the tables they have. You want like $300, $400, $500 or whatever it is. This is just angle iron. All of it's angle iron. 2 pieces of angle iron welded together to make a tube, right? But square tube. But you can literally design your own and just weld it together if you have a welder and you're able to do that. If not, then it's a very convenient thing to have. So I guess it's worth the money. The wood bandsaw next to it for cutting up the wood. It's old Craftsman. And then I have cabinets mounted on the wall, right? And you can see where I have miscellaneous nuts and bolts and little things and knickknacks and paddywhacks and pocket hole jig stuff and filters for the shop vac and all that stuff. And then I have accessories for the big grinders over here. Accessories for that, and then more. You gotta have some borax if you're doing some forge welding, right? Don't forget to protect your lungs. And then this is the more artsy-fartsy stuff, and then some Romex and Cat 5 cable and all that. And then I have down here is where I have my finishing stuff. And then that is my tempering oven. So as long as it can fit in there, we're good to go. Drill sharpener. If you don't have a drill doctor, I highly recommend getting one. File grinders. If you don't have one of those, highly recommend getting one. I have a TIG and stick welder here. I think it's a Weld Pro that I've had for about probably 6 or 7 years. Great TIG welder. Great stick welder. I've never had any issues with it. Lincoln Electric's always the way to go. MIG, that's my MIG welder there. And it's all grounded to the table. So this is my welding table. It's where I do all my stuff. I have all, my hoods and gloves and TIG rods, stick rods, and then the accessory pack for the TIG welder with more cups and tungsten and all that stuff in there. Another vise, of course. Oh, I forgot to show you the 2 vices I got over there on the table. Never too many vices, right? Never enough. And then I have a Grizzly 2x72 that I've had for quite a while. Really gets the job done, but I got this Broadbeck Ironworks 2x72 with all the accessories that go with it. Not an inexpensive piece of equipment. However, one of the most awesome pieces of equipment I have in my shop. Super happy with this thing. It's got the variable speed control and all that stuff. It does so many things, and there's so many attachments that you can do. That's an old one that some of you may have seen on Amazon. It comes from, I'm not sure if it's Ukraine or where it comes from, but it's like you have an Asian company of some sort that you pay. It's like $800, right? It did last a while, and I got a few things done with it. Actually, quite a few things done with it, and then the motor just conked out on me. And then, so that's about it. That's the shop. And that's how I have things set up. I do my welding and grinding here. I do other stuff here. I do my engraving and shaping there. I do my forging in this whole corner here. And then storage is everywhere. And then there's a whole upstairs. Maybe we'll get to that another time. So that's the shop tour there. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Maybe you got some ideas out of it. If you have questions about why I have things where I have them, or what brands or any sort of stuff like that, just drop me in the comments, and I'll see you next time.